can. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank all of you for being at our meeting tonight. Mr. Barker, we want to go ahead and start with the election of the chairs.
We need to call roll first.
Wait a second. Let's do a roll call.
Okay, roll call. George Dixon.
No.
Chad Engelke.
Here.
Angie Little. Here. Linda McGann. Here. Jay Stapleton.
Here.
Jimmy Stokes.
Here.
Andrew Yeager.
Here.
And Janice Vidal.
Here.
Okay, all the commissioners are present.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do our election of chairs, and then...
Can I say something before we get to that?
Yes.
Would anybody have any objection if we, instead of electing somebody for 4 years, we do for 2, so other people on the board can get an opportunity if they want to be the chairman?
Talk in your microphone a little better so we
I'm
can hear
just
you.
saying, this is just a suggestion. It's open.
He said he couldn't hear you.
Oh.
I think it's
You
a
want
good
me to
idea,
repeat?
but I've called for a special meeting, and somebody couldn't come. So here we are.
You called for a special meeting. I wasn't here. I was out of state. I might have been that person, but I'm the mayor's representative.
I'm just making a statement. I thought it was a good idea you talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted a special meeting so
Okay.
we could meet and greet.
So,
But that didn't happen.
do you agree with what I said or not?
So we either got to elect members tonight or...
We are going to elect.
Or-
I was just saying, instead of 4 years in office, 2 years, so it's somebody else, we can change, give somebody else an opportunity.
Okay.
Any objection to that? No? Okay.
What difference?
So we're electing for 2 years,
For
correct?
2 years, so
Okay,
somebody else can.
That's perfectly fine.
Is that
with me.
okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Janice for serving in office for 2 years as a chair. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have any discussion?
All in favor?
Roll call.
Okay, George Dixon.
Yo.
Okay. Now, we're going to vote yes or no in our meetings, okay? So it's clear to everybody what we're voting.
All right, what are we voting on now?
The chairman.
This
Yeah.
is
Who?
the term of the commissioners board. This will be for 2 years, and then we will elect someone else for all of the positions.
Well, this is for the chairman, correct?
Just the chairs.
Okay, that's
Just
perfect.
the chairman?
I guess the
Everybody.
chairman, co-chairman, and secretary.
She said all
All
officers.
positions.
Yes, let's just,
Yeah, all
let's just stay,
positions.
stay consistent.
But you're doing
Right.
chairman first.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about all the chair positions and secretary. The term will be 2 years, and then we can come back and vote someone else in or keep the same
Yeah,
people.
all of the chairman, the vice chairman, and the secretary, that's term for 2 years, okay? And there was a motion made and seconded. And
Second.
George Dixon, you already voted. Chad Engelke,
Yes.
Yes.
Angie Little,
Yes.
Linda McGann, yes. Jay Stapleton,
No.
Jimmy Stokes,
Yes.
Andrew Yeager,
Yes.
and Janice Vidal.
Yes.
Okay, that is, how many of us are there? 7 yes and 1 no. So the motion carries. We will have a 2-year term for the positions of chairman, vice chairman, and secretary.
All right, and we will proceed with, on a motion for the last week's meeting after we elect the chair. So let's go ahead and start with the nomination of a chair.
I'm gonna make a motion to elect Jimmy Stokes.
Nomination.
Jimmy Stokes as president for 2 years.
Do we have,
Chad Engelke as vice chairman, and Linda McGann, if she still wants it, as secretary.
let's start with chair. Let's just do chair for now.
You just want to do the chair? Okay.
Yeah, any other nominations?
Yeah, nominate Chad for
Engelke.
chairman.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? All right. That's all in favor. In the first one, we're going to do all in favor of Jimmy Stokes. And then the second, we'll do all in favor of Chad Engelke.
Who seconded that?
It's just nominations, so there's
Yes.
there's no second.
All right.
We'll let you tell it.
Okay, so how do we do this vote? Call on each person?
You can call him by name.
Okay. All right. Let me make my little chart here. Just bear with me a second. Okay. All right, Janice Vidal, Jimmy or
Jimmy.
Chad?
Jimmy.
Okay. Andrew Yeager,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Oh, we have
Jimmy's
Jimmy.
voting too.
Jay Stapleton. Linda McGann, Chad. Angie Little,
Chad.
Chad Engelke,
Chad.
and George Dixon.
Chad.
Okay, it looks like we have 5 to 3. Chad has the votes. Now, who do we say was going to be the vice chair?
We're going to go through all this again for vice chair.
Okay. Okay, Janice,
So we've got to have a nomination.
another nomination?
So who okay. Do we have open nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Jimmy.
Okay, we got a nomination of Jimmy. Anybody else have any other nominations for vice chair?
Andrew Yeager.
Oh, we have a nomination for Jimmy, and we have a nomination for Andrew. Any other nominations? Okay, go ahead and roll call.
Okay. George Dixon.
Yes.
No.
Okay, which?
Which
Jimmy?
candidate?
Jimmy
or
or
Andrew?
Andrew?
Jimmy.
Who was nominated?
Okay, Chad Engelke.
Jimmy.
Angie Little.
Jimmy.
Linda McGann. Andrew. Jay Stapleton. Jimmy Stokes. Jimmy. We put yours in.
Oh, Jimmy.
Andrew Yeager.
Jimmy.
Do what?
Jimmy.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't talk to you about that. And Janice Vidal.
Jimmy.
Okay. All right, so our chairman is Chad. Jimmy is the vice chair. Now we have secretary.
Yeah. So do we have open nominations for secretary?
Nomination secretary we got now. Can't even remember her name.
Linda.
Miss Linda McGann. So we have a nomination for Linda McGann. Do we have any other nominations?
Yeah.
All right, well then we'll just say, everybody in favor of Linda McGann, say aye.
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 Any opposed, the same? All right, Miss
Linda.
Linda, you are the new secretary.
Okay.
All right, next we'll go on to approval of the previous minutes. Are there any corrections or anything on the minutes? Have you all had a chance to look at it?
My name was left off, but he said it was on the other page that he didn't print, just to know.
Yes, ma'am, that was on the, actually on the agenda. I think the minutes do reflect, Ms. Vidal, that you were out that meeting.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 26, 2000.
Anybody second?
No.
All right. So we got a motion from Jimmy Stokes, a second from Commissioner Dixon.
Roll call?
Okay, George Dixon,
Yes.
Chad Engelkey,
Yes.
Angie Little,
Yes.
Linda McGann, yes. Jay Stapleton,
Yes.
Jimmy Stokes,
Yes.
Andrew Yeager,
Yes.
and Janice Vidal.
Abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, everyone approved.
All right, so now we're going to open it up to old businesses. Old business, this is rezoning case 2039 RZ, the Sage Creek Planning Unit Development. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bob.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So, Sage Creek, as you know, was before you at the last meeting, and it was carried over to this meeting to answer several unanswered questions that were raised. I'm looking at the report. It begins, when you look at your planning packet, at the top of the page, there'll be, you should have a page number in red. And so Sage Creek begins on planning packet page number 2. This is case 2039 RZ, and this is your updated report. So Sage Creek, as you know, going west on Goodman Road, just before you get to Willow Creek on the north side of the road, there is 109 acres there that is proposed to be rezoned to planned unit development. The planned unit development consists of 328 residential lots. They're 10,000 square foot minimums. The entirety of the development is on about 110 acres. There is a section, the total site size is 150 acres. 109 acres is residential, and then there's 6 acres or so of commercial proposed on the Goodman Road frontage. And then in addition to that, there's 34 acres of common open space you will see in the master plan. Now, Sage Creek came before the city of Horn Lake in 2007, and actually was approved in 2007. But nothing ever happened with it. You know, that was right at the time of the recession. And so, if nothing happens in a planned unit development within a particular period of time, I believe it's 2 years, then it is essentially erased. It just goes away and reverts to the original zoning. In 2007, I listed a number of the items there that were of importance regarding the conditions of approval in August of 2007. That being the home sizes, there was discussion of the street cross sections, although that's less important in my opinion. There was a clause in the approval conditions stating that if the homeowners association, which is proposed to care for the common area, if it failed, that the city had the right to assess properties and take care of the maintenance of it by assessing the fee to the properties. I've asked the attorney about that. I'm not sure there's a legal mechanism to do that, but if there is, that's fine. They did ask for higher design quality on the homes, and 2 things were cited. One, Delta Bluffs at the time, which is over to the west, and secondly, in that 2007 report, the Planning Commission and the planner at that time was recommending that the homes mirror the homes that are in existing Willow Point. You know, Willow Point is right off of Goodman Road there, and that shows up in the report as well. There's some design detail on the rural fencing and on the fence frontage, and there was a recommendation of a stub street up to the north. And as I stated in the report, no construction occurred, and so Sage Creek expired in 2009. What is stated next in your report is simply the legal criteria for rezoning. They must show a change in the area and the need for what they're doing. That's listed under staff comments and recommendations number 1. And then under staff comments and recommendations number 2, I just restated all the conditions that were present in the 2007 report. And then in recommendations and comments number 3, you will note a few additional comments, and this was from last meeting, and I believe was the reason you carried it over. One of the key elements were the home plans. In my view, the home plans that are presented in the master plan are not acceptable. And John Mark, I'm going to ask you to scroll on down to planning packet page number 3 if John is there. So 3A deals with the home plans, and what was presented was not in any way close to what's already in Willow Point, which is next door, nor Delta Bluffs. At the time, Delta Bluffs was being considered in '07. So there's that element. However, there have been a set of new home plans presented, and I believe Lee Smart is there to present a new package of home plans that, in my view, are acceptable, and I think those will be distributed to you in just a moment. Secondly, was this item of the open space plan. So the master Sage Creek plan has lots of pictures of benches and playground equipment and so forth, but it's not called out as to how much and where it goes and what the design is. In their updated report, they simply say they'll provide the open space plan prior to the mayor and board of aldermen meeting, and that the commission can consider that. I don't have any issue with that, provided an acceptable plan is presented that details how those elements are to be arrayed in the open space. And that's what that means. All features on the 3B, all features of which they're presenting pictures need to show up in the actual development itself. Thirdly, the tree mitigation is a part of it. They'll have to abide by that. Sign regulations, they're fine. And then 3E, there was some question by the city engineer about the drainage. And they have satisfied the city engineer as to their intentions of the drainage of the development. And so those are the items that we have. Whatever you decide, Mr. Chairman, obviously will go before the mayor and board of aldermen as a recommendation, and then listed there are just some guidance on when you get ready to take action, approval or continuance or denial. But those are the elements of Sage Creek. Again, with the home designs being a key part of what we're talking about. I did send the commission via email late this afternoon a section out of the zoning code, which you will have that supports or backs up the nature of compatible home designs, and would preclude the original home designs in the D.R. Horton, D.H. Horton home design submission. And some of those things, without reading them all, have to do with making sure the garage is not protruding in front of the home, making sure the roof pitches are compatible with nearby homes in the area, making sure that the styling is compatible and similar. And in my view, the homes were very, very, very different. and did not approach anything like what's already in Willow Point, which was in that report of 2007. So finally, to conclude that, Mr. Chairman, if you'll scroll down, John, to page 5, planning packet page 5, planning packet page 6, and planning packet page 7, commissioners, if you have that, you'll see that was out of the 07 report that we're including as an attachment to this report. Your questions, I'll be happy to answer those as you have them. I'm still not getting the Facebook feed, so I can't see, but I'm sure the applicant is there to address it as well.
Thank you, Bob. So is the applicant here? All right, y'all can come up to the podium. Just state your name and address, please, for the record.
How y'all doing this evening? Paul Frazier, 5055 Pleasant View, PFMT Holdings.
All right, so we'll open it up for questions from the commission. And if y'all have anything y'all would like to state, y'all can go ahead and state that now at this time.
Well, the only thing I want to make mention of is what we've done is we've taken and split this up and basically put another builder in here also. So I've got D.R. Horton going to be in the subdivision, and Meridian Homes going to be in the subdivision. I've got pictures of both houses that the builders build. Really, any questions that I can answer, you know, I tried to talk to everybody as much as I could after the last meeting. I just want to try to get everybody on the same page and see if there's anything that I can walk anybody through.
Okay, and Bob's mentioned that y'all may have had y'all had the new house designs that y'all wanted to present before us.
Yeah, this is Lee Smart.
Yeah, I'm Lee Smart. I'm part of their development team. And yes, Mr. Barber had asked that at least for the second builder, and this is 360 plus lots. I mean, Mr. Frazier needs a couple of builders in here, and at least we won't be 8 or 10 years building them out. So having a couple of builders in here would be, I think, good for him and as well for the city as far as getting some sticks in the air. We did, as Mr. Barber asked, we have brought what I call the Meridian, who is a second builder that Mr. Frazier has entertained building there. And now, Mr. Barber does have the part of these. They asked us to bring them to y'all.
Thank you.
So while, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, while they're distributing the home designs, or at least the pictures of the Meridian homes, those were the ones when I reviewed them this week. I determined that they were compatible, looked like quality architecture and compatible with the area, and met the spirit of the original report. Now, my understanding, there are others to be presented tonight, which I have not seen, not from Lee Smart, but from the other representatives. And so if those come up, I have not seen those.
Thank you.
Oh, nothing.
Any questions so far from the commissioners? I know we're looking through our packets and stuff.
Is this the new design standard now? This the new standard?
That's some of the houses. I have some more to show you that are D.R. Horton houses. Those are Meridian Home houses.
Chairman,
Okay.
Chairman,
Yes.
I was under the understanding the porches was not to extend out, the garages was not to extend out past the front of the house. I don't see any of them in here that don't.
I think you're looking at the carriage entrance.
That one there. Every one of them in here, the garage is out in front of the house.
Yeah, my interpretation of the standards is that the carriage loads are acceptable, and then the other ones I looked at were acceptable as well. as opposed to the Horton homes, which put the garage way out in front of the home itself.
You go ahead and pass those down.
Well, there's one here, the garage is in behind, that'd be all right.
Yes, sir.
That's
Mr. Carriage.
Yeah.
No, the carriage is,
all it's just,
You know,
The carriage loads is next to the last one right there. That's the carriage
Oh,
load. And then you got, and the last one is the side load.
The packages are the
what are
same.
these here?
part of our goal tonight,
You got it right there.
among getting approval from the planning commission, was to bring another builder in, but then also work with the builder that was actually here, so D.R. Horton and Meridian have two builders in here, and provide you examples of both of what they build. Of course, y'all do have a building, Horn Lake does have a building ordinance, guideline plans, as far as brick, pitch, those, so we're just giving you examples of what we would like for those houses for y'all to consider, so, from both builders. First packet we gave was from Meridian Builders. Some of the second ones were from D.R. Horton, so.
So I do have a question. So I'm looking at page number 2 on that one there, and that one shows a protruding garage. Now, would that actually be turned into a carriage load?
Well, first of all, this is Jeff King. He is the owner of Meridian Premium Homes, and he can answer specifically those questions.
Chairman, Commissioners, yeah, we're first off, I just want to say thank you. We're really excited about the opportunity when we were brought into this project, and we're really looking forward to working with the city here on doing what's, putting out some quality homes. I've had the experience of working with Mr. Barber in the past, and I kind of understand, what he's looking for, and we went through kind of this workup on a few other houses. So what I've got here is really kind of the designs that we think are mostly, now, some of these garages may stick in front of the roof, in front of the house a foot or two, which is normal. It's just, you're looking, what we're really trying to avoid is the picture that you pointed out, Commissioner, is that, that would be, we turn that into like a carriage load, something that we design. We don't intend to build any houses where there's a front-loading garage that's sticking out, like we call it Sneako's garage. You can see here, all of these they're in your packet, but this is kind of the ultimate design with more of a flat type front to the buildings. And again, we're very open to making changes, so one of the designs doesn't work, we understand the goal, we believe we understand what you're looking for, but we're certainly going to be compliant with that.
How many designs will you have in that subdivision?
We'll probably have 6 to 8 designs with a couple of elevations each.
The reason I'm asking that, I've lived in Florida for a short time, and folks come home drunk and get in the wrong house. Everything looks the same.
Yeah, that's not our intent. We're looking at least, I can only speak for what I do, but, we're going to build a variety of homes, different elevations. The idea is we're not going to have a repetitive nature, but our goal right now is just to show you what we're capable of and hopefully get a recommendation. Again, I just want to thank you for your time and consideration.
All right, any questions?
So are you all picking between the different houses, or you already?
No, sir, we're just showing you the different houses. So what Jeff's alluding to is basically 6 house plans, a couple different elevations, same way with D.R. Horton. Basically 6 houses, a couple of different elevations. I can let Dante go into any different looks you want to talk about, anything that might help you understand the houses a little bit.
Now, the Meridian.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, if I'm not out of order,
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
the Horton homes, I have not seen. I don't know what they're presenting. I asked the Horton representatives, I believe it was Mr. Vargo, if anything was to be presented to the Planning Commission, it had to be to us beforehand so that we could look at it and understand what was being presented. So I can't render any comment on the Horton homes, but if they're anything close to what's in the master plan, in my view, they don't comply with your ordinance.
Can I address that?
Yes. Yes, sir, come on.
Hi, Mr. Roberts, Ryan Vargo. I spoke with Tammy Woods on the Friday, the 20th, I believe. Yes, at 4:21 p.m. She actually forwarded these to you. We had PDFs of 15 plans that we submitted, and they're here before the board tonight in paper copy. Those are the ones in the sheet protectors that you guys are seeing.
Thank you very much. If those are the ones that were presented a few days back, in my view, they do not comply. My understanding was there's something new was being presented tonight. Yes, Mr. Vargo sent the plans in. Thank you very much for that. I don't think they comply with your ordinance, and they don't come anywhere near approaching the kind of architecture that's in Willow Creek, which was requested of the report. So
No,
I am aware.
I would say. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I would say that by looking at the plans that D.R. Horton presented versus what Meridian presented, the houses would look very different in there, because the ones that D.R. Horton, especially the ones that were on his plan there, I don't know what the feeling of the rest of the commission is, but those did fit more of what I would expect to see in Willow Point. So I do agree with you there, Bob. So. Those are the, so that's what I would expect, a full front, bricked. You are correct that the garages are a foot out, but that's pretty typical of most houses that I've sold in the past. So I would say that was the design that we would be more looking at to be aesthetically aesthetics. Most of that has looks like shaker boards and other brick. I didn't see them all, but I mean, I'm just from looking. So anyway.
Can I introduce Dante Esposito with D.R. Horton Homes real quick?
Yes.
If you don't mind.
That's fine. Let me see that.
Hey, Dante Esposito. I appreciate y'all's time. I think I've spoken to some of y'all after our last meeting. I'd be happy to address anything on those houses. We want to comply with what the CCRs are. We want to work with you. If you want more brick, we can do more brick. We can pull the garages back. I'm happy to comply. I'm not trying to buck the system on this. Those are plans that we have built before. Those are plans that we can pull in. If we need to look at something else or adjust those plans, we are happy to do that. We just kind of need a little direction on what more you would like to see. I understand the garages, you'd like to see those pulled back. That's something that can be changed. I believe it's a brick market, so if you'd like to see all brick, we can do all brick. Not a problem. If there's any...
I would be happy to describe what is in the report are houses that are compatible with existing Willow Creek. And the homes in the master plan are not. And we've been talking with Mr. Vargo now for several weeks, and there's been plenty of opportunity to provide the design. So that's the opinion. I don't think the homes as presented do not comply, in my view, with Horn Lake's ordinance. I'm talking about the Horton homes. And I would just be cautious, I guess, by trying to negotiate a home design when it's not what the commission wants or what the planner wants necessarily. It's what's in the ordinance and what's in the staff report that was in 2007, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Frazier is passing around what is in Willow Point now of the pictures that have been built out there. So if there's something that on those that you would like to see on ours, please let us know.
Are these existing?
Those are existing, yes.
But that's not the typical. Yeah, I know the Willow Point area and the areas by it. They have some nicer houses than than that too now. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Willow.
But I don't want us to paint the picture that this is, what's over there in Willow Point.
I'm just showing you what's next door. That's all I'm saying.
But some of them, yeah, they do have larger houses.
I think something else needs to be addressed before we decide what kind of houses are in this. On that page 7 that's up on the screen now, it's addressing the fact that the fire department requires another exit, so this must be resolved. There's only one entrance and one exit there. What are y'all going to do about making another exit so not everybody, when they're trying to get out,
I was planning on getting to that, so we get off the
Yeah.
houses.
Well, you're going to have another exit to the west, for one, that's going to tie into Willow Point.
Yeah,
Willow-
they resolved that, I believe that was Ms. McGann. They resolved that with Street A,
Okay.
which connects into Willow Point.
Okay, but they have to go through another subdivision to get out?
They do, it does, yes ma'am, it connects into Willow.
There's no way to make another exit onto Goodman Road?
No, ma'am.
There's not? Okay.
It's because you have the ditch down at the bottom on the west end.
Mm-hmm.
Same way. This entrance is actually right there, kind of on the top of that hill.
Okay.
And if you're looking at the entrance to the west, that's where that big gas line is that
As long
comes
as they
through.
connect to that other subdivision, it would be several different exits.
Yeah, okay, that's okay, and if Mr. Barber says it's okay. Also, the line right up, no, it's not that one. It's on the page 6. If you could put it back to page 6. This says staff recommends that the lots that are adjacent to the trailer park, that if any applicant feels that it is necessary, that 1,400 square feet minimum be allowed. What about that? Because we had said they had to be 1,800 square feet.
We're happy to do 1,800.
Yeah, that's
Okay, because, I mean, that's what the rest of the subdivision is, and it
No,
doesn't matter about that trailer park.
No, it's easy. They'll all be 1,800 will be the minimum.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Dixon.
got some questions there I'd like to ask him. I just talked to Mr. Vargo, I guess, last week, and I suggested they put an 8-foot fence behind these houses going at the trailer park. Nothing wrong with living in a trailer. No disgrace to that. But I think it needs to be separated between that and the houses need to be 1,800 square foot or better. Number one, it's going to get rid of the trailer park. Number two, or hide the trailer park. Number two, it's going to help the police department. It's hard for a man to jump an 8-foot fence. How about street lights? I went over through that subdivision just west of there the other day. I guess if you look real hard, you might find 6 or 7 street lights in that whole subdivision. That ain't nothing but asking for trouble. A dark subdivision creates crime.
Yes, sir.
How many street lights y'all planning on putting in?
However many the electrical engineer tells us to put in. That will not be our call.
Okay. 'Cause we're sure gonna need them. Now, disability ramps. How about disability ramps for the sidewalks and curbs? Sir?
All the handicap ramps and everything will be drawn in with the plans.
Because I went through Willow Oaks over there, and that is the most disgusting area I've ever been in. Number one, sidewalks are one side of the street. For part of this neighborhood, the next section of the neighborhood don't have any sidewalks, so they got them poor excuse of a curbs. And then you get down to the very end of it, and nothing is period, no curbs and sidewalks. Nothing.
We're going to have curb and gutter and sidewalks.
Speaking of that, I noticed on here, 30-foot street. Somebody suggested 24. Is it 24, or is it going to be 30 foot from the inside of that curb to the inside of the curb?
It should be the outside.
It'll be a 30, it needs to be a 30-foot cross-section.
Because anything under 30 foot is a total disgrace.
30 foot face to face.
From inside the curb to inside the curb.
Yes, sir.
All right, because one place there you're writing down 24 and the diagram is showing 30. It's kind of contradicting itself.
My engineer just said 30.
Okay. All right. Who's going to keep up the parks and the trails and who's gonna buy the equipment for the parks?
The HOA.
Sir?
The HOA is gonna maintain all of the green space within this
They're gonna
project.
keep them up, but who's gonna initially buy the equipment for the parks?
I don't know what equipment will be bought for the parks, I'm sorry.
Sir?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Dixon, or Mr. Chairman, if I might address that.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
go ahead.
So this deals with the open space plan comments that are in the report. The developer is responsible for the equipment in those common areas. There's precedent images used, pictures of playground equipment, benches, and lighting and what have you, and trails. They're there, but there's no specific plan as to what goes where. The developer will be required to install all of that, and ultimately it would be turned over to a homeowners association for the maintenance of it.
Well, what I was getting at though, is it gonna be one swing, or is it gonna be 4 or 5 swings, or is it gonna be a slide? In other words, are they gonna put some decent equipment in there?
Yes, sir, that's a great question. And the plan is not specific as to what they're putting in, where it's going, and how much of it.
Mr. Dixon, we haven't gotten that far with the
My
plans
name's
yet.
George, by the way.
I'm sorry.
I said, my name is George.
Yes, sir.
My dad died about 53 years ago.
Okay, George.
One more thing I've got is y'all are talking about the street and no parking on the street. That ain't gonna be enforceable. Number one, you've got, your kids come over, your driveway's full, here comes somebody else over, they're gonna park on the street.
Yes, sir.
So you can't, it ain't no way to even put that in there. You can't enforce no parking on the street. That's just putting a load on the police department that can't be done. I think that needs to be out of there.
I was gonna say, that's one of the reasons why we want the 30-foot, face-to-face.
Yeah.
Is so that, because you can't say when somebody can't park on the street.
No.
I mean, they're gonna do it anyways, but at least if you get 2 cars on either side, you can still drive straight through the middle. And that was what we wanted to make sure that you always have free pass.
All right, one more thing I've got, and then I'll shut up. Didn't mean to have everybody talking. Y'all say the back of the commercial lots, on the back side of the buildings, what kind of material y'all planning on using?
Brick.
Okay.
But I haven't thought about the commercial at all, to be honest.
Sorry?
Right now, I've strictly been working on nothing but the residential piece to this.
I just didn't like the idea of a metal back on one of the buildings. It can be seen from somewhere.
Commissioner
Go ahead,
Dixon,
Bob.
The design, Horn Lake's architectural standards will regulate the backside of those buildings, and Mr. Frazier's right, there'll have to be a masonry rear.
All right, as far as I'm concerned, everything looked good.
I do have one question. When an HOA is established and everything, they would also be in charge of taking care of the detention ponds and making sure they're maintained and everything, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's
I have a question.
Yes,
So basically
Commissioner.
what Mr. Bob is saying, that these do not meet specifications.
That is correct.
Those are the old
And
ones.
apart from this one that is protruding.
Okay, now,
the rest
but
is
hold on. Now, the first ones you're showing, those are from D.R. Horton.
Okay.
And those do not approve, that's in the master
But,
plan.
yes.
Now, since they've been here today, those are new plans from
Except
from
this one that
Meridian.
is
That's from a different builder.
Okay.
Those are from Meridian, and those are the
I'm
first ones
aware.
we've
I just
seen on
wanna-
those, so.
yes.
And the ones that we were talking about wasn't
What
really
is this one?
wasn't the first two, but it was the last ones because the garage does not protrude out forward unless they're doing a carriage load or a side load, which side load don't protrude out either. Am I making that, am I correct in what I'm looking at? Okay, just want to make sure, I don't want to speak for y'all, I'm just looking at what I'm seeing and everything.
I'll make a,
We passed out too much stuff.
Well, yeah, I understand. So really, only thing that I understand, commissioners, and y'all just need to do a final discussion, is the only thing we haven't come to consensus on, well, at least not yet that I'm aware of, is the D.R. Horton designs that they've presented. Bob is saying that they do not meet.
Has Bob seen the Meridian?
that's what I was
Bob
on.
has seen the Meridian.
Yes, sir, I've seen them both.
So does,
Is there a way to push the motion and we just approve the Meridian style?
Mr. Chairman,
No.
Chairman, can we not just go ahead and approve this, send it on in to the alderman with the conditions that we've just discussed?
All right, I've got a question
And-
before.
Yeah, I do too.
Go ahead, Commissioner Little.
Okay, regarding the HOA, are you gonna fund the HOA?
To start with, yes.
Okay, and how much of a percentage of the neighborhood has to be completed before you hand it over, and who will be running the HOA after?
Oh, that's a good question.
Usually 80, but I will say in the past, we will not let an HOA go until it is completely funded and it has.
Now, do y'all have a management group that y'all usually hand it off to, or do y'all let the
yes.
homeowners?
Well,
I mean,
it depends on they can vote someone in. We have a management group that runs it. Yes, while we are funding it, it'll probably be Keith Collins.
Okay.
As who we have used in the past.
Yes,
I got a,
Commissioner Ray. Jay.
As far as the HOA, y'all are responsible for all that property until a certain amount of the property has been sold, correct?
Correct.
What percentage is that?
That can be 100% if that would.
Okay. In my subdivision, it was up to, I think, 2 lots, and we took over. But the developer still owned 2 lots in there. So there's a certain amount of percentage that they are responsible for it. As far as a house designed like this, the illusion is that the garage sticks out toward the street. But you gotta look at it, the front door is only garage depth. And if you look at a line of the houses, they're all in line within a foot or 2 or 5. It's not like this is gonna be 20 feet from the sidewalk and the rest of them are gonna be 30 feet, for instance. But that's an illusion there, if you look at it. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so.
I do have a question on the, I know
So
you talked
they
to
may be responsible for the property, the common area, for several years.
That's correct.
Are you gonna try to develop Section A first, Area A first?
Ooh, I don't have the book in front of me.
Does it say that? I never did see it. That's the 9 acres that's almost on Goodman Road.
Actually, we'll probably do A and B.
A and what?
I'm looking at A and B. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's on page 6.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
Because we'll be finishing out in Willow.
Well, see, I was just going with the perception, if you do A, then more people's gonna see it and be inquiring about it.
That's the game plan right
I
now,
don't
is A and B to start with.
You can't figure people out sometimes.
All right, Commissioner Yeager.
I have a hard time figuring them out too.
Commissioner Yeager, you had a question?
I did. I know you talked to the city engineer about your water drainage, and you have 7 or 8 different detention ponds and a couple different preservation areas. Just an example, let's say we got 1 to 2 inches of rain in a day or two. Is all these houses gonna be really above, elevation?
They'll be above flood, and we have not got that far with the design with the plans yet.
Gotcha.
But they will definitely be above flood.
Gotcha. And I actually did a little research on the company and did looked at some of their previous builds, and just my personal opinion, they have done fantastic work. So I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments for the applicant? Do we have any further discussion about the house designs from Meridian or from D.R. Horton?
Why don't we let that gentleman up there decide on the houses?
I would just like to clarify which houses are actually, which design.
Okay, so there's 2 builders. And if y'all correct me if I'm incorrect, there are 2 builders. Meridian is building these in this packet that we all have. D.R. Horton has presented these as their packet, which is the same, which is the same company that's in our other packet, but they've given us more. And it's Bob's conclusion that neither the ones in the plan nor the ones that they've handed us fit the design for Horn Lake. Bob has mentioned that these from Meridian do meet the standards of what we're wanting and that make it more like Willow Point. So that's where we stand right now.
But if we approve them, we're approving all of them.
May I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Jeff King from Meridian, and again, as I've worked with Bob before, I just might offer a suggestion. I mean, right now, time is of the essence. It is a good time to get this process started, and obviously, it's going to be 6-9 months before the first house comes out of the ground. We do know, and again, I'm not speaking for D.R. Horton, but we do know, and I think tonight we've pretty much defined what the house the city's looking for looks like. I'd love to recommend to move forward with a recommendation here and simply state that houses need to fit in this box or a permit will not be issued. And that way, it'll give D.R. Horton some time to come up with a design, and if they come up with a great design, that'll be fantastic. If there's designs of ours that you don't like, they can be culled from the mix. But, it'll allow us to move forward and get this process going to the next level. And I'm sure that, over the next month, as we get to the aldermen past that, we'll be able to get good designs that'll meet the needs of the Planning Commission and the city.
I thank you for your
input.
Thank you.
Is it possible to do that?
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, the Meridian home plans fit the standard expressed in the ordinance. The Horton home plans do not. It was my understanding that the application was coming to you tonight with the Meridian homes, and that the other homes were off the table. Therefore, I wrote the report as, yes, let's move the development forward and let's move it forward. If the commission, it's obviously the commission's call on it, but it could certainly be approved with the Meridian home designs and the other home designs excluded. And if in the interim they bring in designs that do meet the standard, those could be included as well. But
can I ask a question real quick, Bob? Can it be conditional that they get the approval of the alderman if we move this forward? Okay,
yes,
that
sir.
we can go ahead and approve one, and then the other designs would have to, when they do present, that they would have to present it to the Board of Aldermen for approval.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Any other questions from the commission? All right. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I believe you have a public hearing on rezoning issues.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. It's a public hearing.
Okay. Well, then we'll open it up to public hearing. Do we have anybody from the public who'd like to speak?
For the record, my name is Francis J. Miller. I live at 7180 Benji Avenue, Horn Lake, Mississippi, Ward 5, a registered voting resident 12 and a half years. I attend all these meetings and all the meetings. Now, in the past years, so many times this Planning Commission makes a decision, and it goes to the Board of Aldermen, and they reverse everything. I am hoping this new board, Planning Commission, that is up here now, can make decisions that are not overturned by our Board of Aldermen. Think about what you're doing. It's called reputation of your decision. Now, Mr. Barber up here is, my opinion, the best in the entire nation. I suggest you listen to him. Now, I agree with some members on this board. I do not like houses that you see a garage and not the house. And the picture that I kept looking up there, I saw nothing but garages. So my opinion is,
build houses, not garages. But every house has to have, and in Horn Lake, the alderman I know what a minimum of 1,800 square feet minimum in writing, plus minimum of 1,800 square feet heated, plus the two-car garage minimum. I would take that in consideration, so whatever you do tonight, make sure you got in there 1,800 feet heated plus a two-car garage. Then personally, I want to see a house, not a garage. Then I heard comments by Mr. Barber. I sure hope you're listening to him. That's the end of my discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Francis. Anybody else from the public that would like to speak?
Can I speak again?
All right, we'll do it one last time. Go.
One last time, and this sum up for Mr. Barber's sake. So, I mean, Jeff put it kind of what we'd like to try to do is we want to try to keep two builders in the game, you know, just because of the number of lots. So I didn't know if your approval or not, you could approve it with the Meridian plans, with the caveat that between now and the board meeting, that D.R. Horton could submit to Mr. Barber plans that might be acceptable, and then if they are acceptable, that could be voted at the alderman meeting. Yeah. Would that be a way of doing that, Bob?
Lee, I'm all for that, but I just want to be clear about what needs to be presented between now and that board meeting. But yes, sir, we can work that out, certainly.
And we won't wait to the last day either. We'll get something in the next few days. We'll get that to Bob. He has to send them back. We got to send him some more of the other builders to keep them possibly in the game for the building. So if that's the way the motion could be read, we'd appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Okay, commissioners, any other discussion? All right, do I have a motion?
Well, I closed the book.
I'll make a motion to accept the site plan as noted, with the exception that Meridian should and must present.
No, Meridian's
No,
the one.
this is Meridian.
Okay.
These are the D.R. Horton. These are D.R. Horton.
Who?
D.R.
Okay,
Horton.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Horton, present upscale picture and details of the houses to go in the site. Does that make any sense?
Second.
Not really.
Well, anyway, hopefully we get two builders, present a better design for us, and we can move forward.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? So we've made a motion to accept the plans as presented with Meridian's style houses that we've discussed, and that the D.R. Horton will be presenting new plans to the Planning Commission between now and our next alderman meeting. And we've had a motion and a second.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Otherwise, we'll do roll call.
The only thing I have is needs to be corrections on the City of Horn Lake report. The address is incorrect, saying that it's at the corner of Nell and Hurt, and then the tax parcels, 2 of the 3 tax parcel numbers are incorrect.
I apologize. That's a cut and paste error, and I'll fix
that's what
that.
I figured.
Yeah, okay. So,
I just wanted to call it out there.
all right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, they're going to just, D.R. Horton's going to present to Bob,
Right.
and prior to the alderman meeting, and this will all go to the alderman meeting for final approval. And so
Okay.
we're ready for roll call.
Okay. All right, George Dixon?
Yes.
Chad Engel? Oh, you don't vote. Angie Little?
Yes.
Linda McGann? Yes. Jay Stapleton?
Yes.
Jimmy Stokes?
Yes.
Andrew Yeager?
Yes.
And Janice Vidal?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries with 7 voting to approve.
I thought we was gonna be here all night.
Thank y'all. Mr. Chairman, who seconded that motion?
George Dixon?
He made the motion.
No,
No, Jay made the motion.
Jay made the motion.
Oh, Jay Staple, okay. Jay and, George, okay. Thank you.
We thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Thank y'all.
All right, so now we're moving on to new business. This is case number 2027 SDR, Rolling Greens Revision, lot number 33.
Mr. Chairman, you will find this beginning on planning packet page number 8. This involves, it's a relatively straightforward situation. There's a 3-acre lot, lot number 33 in Rolling Green. They wish to make it into 2 1.5-acre lots. The property there is zoned agricultural residential, and the minimum lot size is 1.5 acres. And so they meet the minimum lot size. And what occurs in a subdivision revision is the owner has to get the agreement or the consent of the surrounding property owners. Yep. And that has occurred. I didn't put it in your packet because there's 20 pages of affidavits, but the surrounding property owners have been notified and have agreed to the revision. So I just put for your information the law in there. This is on page 9, planning packet page 9. You'll see a lot of legalese that basically says you have to notify surrounding owners and get their consent. Again, that has occurred. So I think there's a diagram on the next page there. I provided you both the lot, the single lot, John Mark, if you'll go to page 10. That's the lot itself as it would be divided. You can see just 2 residential lots. And then if you'll go to the next page, you'll see lot number 33, which is the upper left-hand corner. That's the lot that we're talking about on Rolling Green Road there. So I'm not sure if anyone's there to represent it or not, but again, it's a very straightforward matter, and that's what's before you.
All right, the applicant can come forward.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and state your name and your address.
Mr. Chairman, it's Robbie Jones, Jones Davis and Associates, 8849 Center Street, South Eden.
So, Mr. Jones, I'll let you go ahead and open it up and just have any discussions about what we're trying to do, and then we'll see if any questions come up.
Yeah, Chris Stafford owns that lot. There's an existing house on it that his mother lives in, and he'd like to build on the rear part of it. And it's 3 acres. So we're going to cut it in half and give him 1.5 acres and 1.5 acres with his mom. So.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Yes, sir.
This access road that you're going to give the site in the rear, who's going to maintain that?
Well, it's part of the lot. It would be the rear lot.
Yeah. Is it going to be paved? Is it going to be?
Well, it'd just be a drive. It'd just be a driveway. It's not a road.
Okay.
Bob.
My point is, when that drive gets washed out or whatever, who's going to maintain it?
Well, the property
I've
owner.
heard stories of this situation.
Yes.
They wind up into a running battle of who. Yeah. Some people put a gate across it, and some people, well, it's not my driveway, but it is in a way.
So in this case, Mr. Dixon,
that was Jay. Go ahead, Bob.
I'm sorry, I can't catch the voices. Lot 33A, Mr. Stapleton, that they would own all the way out to Rolling Green Road. So that would be that homeowners, that would be their own driveway. And so in order to access their home, they would have to, keep up the driveway and maintain it.
So yeah, so you're saying there's no shared driveway, so there would be no issue?
There's no share, it's not an easement, there's no shared situation happening.
Bob, can I ask you a question? Because I actually asked you this exact question to my personal house, because I was building an easement behind my house to my barn, and he told me I could not have gravel. And he's saying he's on the gravel.
So I don't, Andrew, we'll talk about that again. The only difference I know of, and I need to look the rule up again, but the only difference I know of is this is in an agriculturally zoned area. And I apologize, but I don't recall exactly what we discussed, but we can certainly revisit it. But in this case, it's an agriculturally zoned area, and they would just put a driveway there.
Any other questions from the commissioner?
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Dixon.
In other words, you have no access to this property back there other than private.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's just a regular lot. I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions from the commissioners?
Is that a home already back there or a barn?
No, sir, some barns.
So you're gonna tear the barn down? And,
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I had the opportunity to drive through there today, and I noticed there was something already back there.
Yes, sir. There's a pond back there too, part of it.
There's a what?
Little lake, little pond in
Okay.
that
Yeah,
northeast
yeah.
corner.
Okay, any other questions? All right, do we have a motion?
Yes. I move to recommend to the mayor and the Board of Aldermen the approval of the above subdivision application.
Second.
Any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
What was the motion, ma'am?
The motion was to accept, was to recommend this to move to the Board of Aldermen for approval. And we have a motion and a second, so we're going to do roll call.
Okay, Janice Vidal,
Yes.
Andrew Yeager,
Yes.
Jimmy Stokes,
Yes.
Jay Stapleton,
Yes.
Linda McGann, yes, Angie Little,
Yes.
and George Dixon.
No.
Okay, we have 6 yeses and 1 no. The yeses, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our next case, case number 2049 SDR, Preferred Industrial Subdivision, first revision.
Mr. Chairman, again, this is subdivision revision, and the same circumstance that you just heard in Rolling Green. Preferred industrial subdivision, I'll just direct you straight to the exhibit, which is will be the map, and you'll see a purple outline of preferred industrial subdivision. John Mark, if you could orient that to where the thin part is to the left side of the screen. That's Hurt Road. As the way your map is oriented now, Hurt Road is running across the top of the purple, and then Cole Road is running to the left of the purple as you look at the map. If John Mark gets the view twisted, you'll see it in the way it's oriented to the world. So here we go. Yeah, you'll rotate counterclockwise. So that's rotated on around. You'll have to go backwards. Just give it just a moment to get to the proper view. There we go. All right, so Cole Road is on the south side of the lot, and then Hurt Road is to the left, or the west side of the lot. There is an existing industrial building. You will see there on address 2204, and then you'll see the rest of that land is essentially vacant all the way out to Hurt Road. So on the next page, you will see how they wish to revise it. They wish to take one lot and actually lot number 1 and divide it into lots 1A, lot 1, lot 1A, and lot 1B, and lot 1C. So you'll see the lot lines there. Ben Smith is is the engineer. I'm assuming he's there. And this, like the previous subdivision, requires the approval of the interested parties, which will be the other owners associated with this subdivision. So that's really all we have. They're wanting to divide it into additional lots, I assume, to sell off or create some more industrial lots there.
All right, thank you, Bob.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Dixon.
Question is all of this facing a road? I know the first 3 years, but is this back one going along behind the other commercial building, are they going to face hurt?
So the 3 lots to the right face Cole Road.
Right.
And then the lot on the front there, or the left side, faces Hurt Road and Cole Road both.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I believe I'm right. Yes, that's correct. What he's shown there is that the property, the Hurt Road frontage is on C1, and that's not a lot line differentiating the C1. So that's a single lot that stretches from Hurt Road and then curves to the south to Cole Road.
Yeah. Okay. Plenty of access to public road.
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have the applicant here? Please state your name and your address for me, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Ben Smith, 2700 Stonebrook, Nesbit. This is just a simple division of a recorded lot in a subdivision. The building that Bob showed you on the aerial is on, we're going to retain it as being on lot 1. Then we're subdividing the rest of the property. They all have road frontage there, so it's just a simple division of the lot.
Do we have any questions from the commissioners?
I've got a question. It says here, with the outline that we have of the aerial, one of the lots has an existing building. Is that one of the lots, or is it just a vacant?
Lot 1.
Lot 1? Okay.
Yeah, for chain of title purposes, we keep it lot 1, so you can follow the chain of title.
And that is included in this request tonight, right?
Yes, it's lot 1 would be the building that's there.
Okay.
What will happen if the commission approves this, this will now become preferred industrial subdivision, first revision. And it'll be re-recorded at the courthouse, and rather than a single lot, it'll have the lot configuration you see here.
Bob, what kind of buildings can go in that industrial reserve?
Basically industrial, those smaller lots are going to have some smaller industrial user there. You could key off the building that's already there. That's the kind of thing. There'll be a small employer or a contractor or some small manufacturing enterprise of some sort.
Hey, Ben, can you tell me what's in that existing building right now? I mean, I've been by it 100 times. I can't remember.
I don't know what that building is used for, but, the buildings will be back before you for design review for any building that goes any of those other
Well, I was just asking because I figured if we knew what was there, they would just give everybody an example of what's already there. But that's fine. I can't remember what's there. I've been back there before.
Have you already got signatures from your neighbors?
No, not yet.
You are going to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I don't know if that was Mr. Dixon or Stapleton, but we will not move forward with recording this plat until they present that information.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
So we can approve it. We can approve it tonight, but it still couldn't move forward without the signatures.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bob said recording. We'd like to be heard by the mayor and board, and of course we'll have the affidavits by the time of recording. Before recording.
Yeah, it can't be recorded without it. Even if we approve it, they can't be recorded.
We're just approving it to go before the mayor and the board.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to
Yes.
pass to the board.
All right. Any second?
Second.
All right, so we got a motion made by by Commissioner Dixon, and we have a second by Commissioner Little. Now we'll do roll call.
Well, I would also say that that would just be pending agreement of all interested property owners.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay, Janice Vidal,
Yes.
Andrew Yeager,
Yes.
Jimmy Stokes,
Yes.
Jay Stapleton,
Yes.
Linda McGann, yes. Angie Little,
Yes.
and George Dixon.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ben.
motion's approved.
All right, we move on to our next case, number 2050 SD Willow Point Phase 3 Final.
Mr. Chairman, this is, we've discussed Willow Point some tonight in relation to Sage Creek, so you know that area. It sounds like y'all are very familiar with it. Willow Point Phase 3, this was a development that was approved back in '05 as a planned unit development. It's really a straightforward matter. They got preliminary approval back in November of 2020, and as you scroll on down, John Mark, to the next page where the aerial is, you'll see the aerial map. That gives you the location there. It's outlined in red. It's adjacent to the existing Willow Point, and then if you'll scroll one more, and that one's oriented. If you'll go backwards, counterclockwise, rotate that, you'll be able to see the actual plat itself. So as I mentioned, it already has preliminary approval. It's been before the commission. The returning commissioners may recall it in November of 20. And there's really, and the engineer has looked at it. I think all those approvals have been, comments have been addressed by the applicant from the city engineer. I will point out two items, and this is a matter that is needs to be resolved. There was a fee required. Fee in lieu of open space. That was back on the original approval. And I came across this in the staff report back in '05 when the rezoning was approved. And I don't know if it's been, I assume it has not been paid, and I assume it's still applicable. So there's that matter. There's also the question of will these folks be a part of Willow Creek Homeowners Association? Is there an association? And really, those are the two main items. As far as the subdivision itself, it's more or less ready to go. But the fee, we need to settle the matter fee, and that can certainly be done with the mayor and board of aldermen, and the attorney is researching the exact nature of that $350 per lot fee.
All right,
That's all I have. It's just standard conditions of platting and recording, bonding the infrastructure, and then building out this section of the subdivision.
All right, thank you, Bob. So do we have the applicant here?
Yes, I'm sorry, Paul Frazier again.
How are you doing?
Just fine. I was trying to do the math.
Anyway, so we'll open it up to questions for right now. Yes, Commissioner Dixon.
I know this has already been, a lot of it's been approved, but do we have to continue with this subdivision under the agreement that's been done? I drove through there, and part of it has got sidewalks for the first phase of it. The second phase has nothing. The third does have a slanted gutter. The third phase, you go in a ditch and out on the road. You don't have curbs, gutters, you don't have nothing in there. 10 years from now, Horn Lake's gonna be over there having to pay to put gutters and sidewalks in.
We've got them in
Yes,
the...
sir.
I'm sorry.
Go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Bob.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
We're sure, go ahead for what?
I was gonna say, the subdivision to the north is a rural subdivision. That one has just roadside ditches and no curb and gutter or sidewalks.
Well, I drove through the whole thing, and I can't find them, and on top of that, you only got about maybe 10
That's okay.
night street lights in the whole
We're good.
place.
George, we're gonna put sidewalks in, curb and gutter in, street lights in this subdivision.
Sidewalks?
Sir?
Sidewalks?
Yes, sir.
Because you get somebody handicapped.
We're all good.
And then you handicap entrances too. You get somebody handicapped right now, they have to walk, or anybody for that matter, has to walk in the street.
I agree with you. We're good.
All right, I don't know how the city have ever approved it, but looks like they did.
It'll be on the plans on the street profile.
That's my gripe.
Any other questions from the commission?
What size houses are in these?
The same as Sage, 1,800.
1,800, okay. And it says there's no HOA? Is
There
there gonna be one?
there
for
will be
this?
an HOA, but it will be a separate HOA.
Okay, so for this specific area?
Yes, for this
Okay.
subdivision, yes.
And the same goes as the questions I asked a while ago? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And y'all have a percentage filled? Is it gonna be the same as like what y'all was talking about with Sage, or is it, okay? Didn't know if y'all
Same.
had something different, okay.
It's not but 87 lots? Yeah. 89, I'm sorry.
Any other questions from the commission?
Mr. Barker,
Yes, sir.
in the site and design review table, the things that are in red, the things that you can't see in the package, have they been already, have they come into compliance?
Well, that's for the next one.
That's the next
Oh,
one, Mr.
okay,
Stokes.
okay, I'm sorry. I jumped up.
So if you'll reference, page 19 is planning packet, page 19.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Sir, you're one page ahead.
Me.
I think I'm getting hungry now, that's what it is.
Question.
Yes.
So if we approve this now, what are the plans? When will they pay this money? The 89 by
I don't think spend the fees.
Well, that's
Oh.
I'll leave it to y'all, about the $350,
Y'all
We-
are researching that.
The way I would suggest it be done, well, first of all, we need to make sure that it hadn't been paid in the past. I doubt it has.
I don't think so.
But we would not record the plat, assuming the mayor and board approve this. It would be the planning department's recommendation that that the plat not be recorded, the fee would be paid up front unless the board made some other arrangement.
Okay. So if I understand you, what you're saying is we can go ahead, if the commission decides to pass this, it would just be with the condition of them researching that $350 assessment,
Can it be paid up front?
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other discussion? And do I have a motion?
Yes.
Grant a public hearing on this one or not? I do not know.
I'll ask Bob, is this a public hearing or not?
It is not. It's not a public.
Okay, because I thought with the final approval it was not. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, do we have any discussion? All right, any a motion? I'm sorry, I'll get this right here.
Motion pass this on to the alderman with the agreement that we get the money, or it's either paid or not paid, and let them know. And
said it
with
was-
sidewalks and curbs.
So you're gonna make.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Dixon that we pass this on to the Board of Aldermen, and while they're researching the $350 to be assessed to make sure to see if it has or has not been paid previously.
Including the sidewalks.
And add the sidewalks and curbs.
And sidewalks and curbs. Do we have a
Second.
second from Commissioner Fidel? Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Okay, George Dixon,
Yes.
Angie Little,
Yes.
Linda McGann, yes. Jay Stapleton,
Yes.
Jimmy Stokes,
Yes.
Andrew Yeager,
Yes.
and Janice Fidel.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Bob.
Mr. Chairman, the motion and second there was who?
The motion was made by Commissioner Dixon, and the second was by Commissioner Vidal.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, which brings us to our, we're going into site plan and design review. We're looking at case number 2047 SP, the site plan and design review of the Johnson Commercial Lot 2 convenience store located at Nail and Horn Lake Road.
Mr. Chairman, this begins on page 20. I see it's up on the screen there. What is being proposed in the Johnson Commercial Subdivision is a convenience store with gas pumps. And this is about a 14,500 square foot building. It's a sizable building. There's 242 linear feet of facade frontage. I tried to make the site and design review as simple as possible. It gets a little convoluted sometimes, but the way I ended up doing it, or have ended up doing it, is simply coding the areas where I thought it was deficient in red, and then the things that are not applicable are in gray, and then if it complies, it's in green. So to make I won't go through the report in detail unless you want me to. I will point out a couple of high-level items. One is there's a buffer yard requirement would be to the east on this site between the convenience store and the residential neighborhood behind it. According to my reading of the ordinance, it requires a 25-foot buffer yard, and a 25-foot buffer yard is not indicated on the site plan. So that's item number one. The nature of the dumpsters, it's not illustrated on the plan, but the dumpster enclosure will have to comply. And scrolling on down, now some of this is just informational purposes. It'll have to comply when they revise their plans. They need to show where the ground-mounted equipment is, the HVAC and all that, because it's got to be screened. If it's mounted on the roof, it's got to be concealed on the roof. When you're scrolling on down, you'll see I'm just going to scroll on down to the item under item F, where we get into materials. You'll see this is on page 22. You'll see in the middle of the page a lot of red. 50% of the exterior finishes shall be two of the following, da-da-da-da-da. So to address this, let me just refer you on down to page, scroll down to page 26, planning packet page 26. And you will see I've called out some red items there. On the back of the building, there is EFS, and it's majority EFS. EFS is a kind of a styrofoam covered material stucco-like thing, but it's not stucco. It's actually essentially styrofoam covered over with a glaze. So the back of the building cannot be EFS. The Horn Lake standards do not allow for that. And so we've called that out. The other interesting thing about it is that unless I'm misreading it, and I'm subject to misreading it, I don't think these building elevations are applicable to this site, because you'll see where it says north elevation. Well, that's not a north elevation. That would be the elevation, that'd be the west elevation, the way it's oriented on the site, if I'm understanding it correctly. So I don't know for certain that we've got a building designed to this site. Finally, as you scroll down to page 27 there, the canopy detail, that would be the canopy over the gas pumps, that's supposed to be submitted as well. And then I called out the 25-foot buffer yard. You can disregard that third note, insufficient detail. That's insufficient detail on the dumpster enclosure. The site plan complies otherwise, but and most of these details can be corrected fairly simply, except the 25-foot buffer yard might be a little problematic for them. What they're showing is 15, I believe. But the building itself is not compliant, and they're going to need to revise that. So that's without getting into too deep in the weeds, that's an overview of that site and building plan.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have the applicant here?
Mr. Chairman, again, Ben Smith, 2700 Stonebrook in Nesbit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ben. All right, does anybody have any questions for Ben to start off with?
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Dixon.
That ground is on the level, so I know you're going to have to grade it. Are y'all planning on, between your property and the neighborhood, it's going to have to be a wall or slope or something? What are you planning on doing there to keep the ground within reason?
Well, that's a landscape easement there, George, so we can, if it's just sloping, we'd just have a sloping landscape easement.
I mean, driving by it, you can look at it and tell you got at least a 3-foot cut.
Yeah.
So that's going to leave a pretty deep side, or on the back side back there, it's either going to have a wall up or landscaped.
Yeah, we're going to do a 6-foot fence back at the back, but.
Well, a 6-foot fence won't hardly hold it, will it? That's going to be a lot of wash where you've got the cut there. Something's going to have to hold the dirt on them property owners. And then second, are you having an exit or entrance coming off a nail?
I'm sorry, Joy, I didn't.
Is there going to be an entrance coming off a nail? I know there's one coming off of
there's
Hurt Road.
We have an entrance off a nail, and we made it as far as we could from the intersection, but we do have a 30-foot entrance shown on the site plan.
Is that going to include widening nail any, or?
We'll widen nail. It needs to be widened. Yes, it would be curb and gutter on Nail Road and sidewalks.
Main thing is that wash is going to be on the east side there. There's going to be a pretty good cut there of ground.
Truthfully, I have not looked at that yet.
It's highly visible when you ride down the road.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he means a retaining wall instead of a fence.
Yeah. Retaining wall or whatever. They can slope it and sod it, and that will keep the wash down too.
Right.
If I could address the buffer, Bob, we show 15 because we have enough room over there, most of the site to put that whole area over there as a dumpster behind the curb. I mean, as a landscape easement behind the curb. We can exceed that 25-foot. I think your ordinance says an average of 25 foot, and I think you measure it in 3 different places. So we're close to having that now if we make it all buffer. We will actually exceed 25 foot. So. But I misread that buffer yard chart, I guess, Bob, but we can put a 25 on that side. And we show a 20-foot across, as your frontage, we show a 20-foot buffer along Nail and also along Horn Lake Road. If I could, I thought the architect would be here tonight. I'll do my best to try to address the comments about the buildings, and if I say, yeah, we will do it, even though I'm not the architect, it will be done. But the exterior at the back of the building, there will not be any ephes. That's the first time I've heard that term, but it will be a masonry at the rear. We will submit a canopy elevation And also, we'll submit a dumpster. The dumpster material will be the same as the building material.
What did you call the material in the back? What did you
That's
call?
the first time, Bob. That's a new term for me. EFFICE, I guess.
What did you say it would be? I know what he
Masonry.
Masonry. Oh, gotcha.
Masonry.
But the front will be half brick and half glass, right?
Yeah, mostly, yes.
Mr. Bob,
Yes, sir.
would you suggest that this carry over until we meet these requirements of the city?
Yeah.
Mr. Stokes, I'm comfortable with this. I have no doubt Ben will adjust the site plan accordingly. And unless they're asking for a variance from some of these requirements, and I don't think they are, it could be passed subject to these requirements being met, as they've been called out in the report.
Okay.
And I'm totally good with that. I mean, they're objective standards, and there's not really any judgment call in them. They're either met or they aren't met.
Bob, you have over 10 things in red here. I mean, there's a lot of things not met.
Well, that's true. I mean, if y'all want to see it again, that's fine. But I'm just saying that to get the right material on the building, that's a pretty easy fix. For Ben to adjust the buffer yard, that's an easy fix. All these things can be addressed with a revised set of drawings. If the commission wants to see those revised drawings, then we'll certainly bring them back. If you want the planning department to review revised drawings, then we'll do it that way. Whatever your pleasure, Mr. Yeager.
All right, any other discussion?
So, Mr. Baker, he would have to meet the site and design standards, right? Even if we approve.
Yes, sir.
Even if we approve it, he still have to meet those standards.
If you approve it, I would suggest you approve it subject to
the requirements being met.
Those standards in this report being met prior to it going before the mayor and board of aldermen.
Okay.
That's fine.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I make a motion, we postpone this over to the next meeting until we get some of these questions answered, all straightened out.
All right, we do have a motion for this to be due continuance until until these requirements are resolved. Do I have a second? There is no second, so that motion does not carry.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, Commissioner Stokes.
I move to recommend to the mayor and board of aldermen the approval of the above site plan application subject to recommendations and the following conditions, subject to the requirement being met before going to the board of aldermen.
All right, we have, as I say, we have a motion for this to be moved to the board of aldermen, or prior to board of aldermen, for all these requirements to be met and new drawings put up. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, Commissioner Yeager, second. Do we have any other discussion?
Yes. I would also like to have this subject to erosion control study on the east and the north side of the property. What?
Say that one more time.
The erosion control.
Erosion control.
Where there's so much grade between their lot and the residential lots next door to the east.
Okay.
And then to Dollar General to the north.
So we have a motion, we have a second, and we have an amendment to the motion for erosion on the east side of the lot. Any other discussion?
That'd be north and east, wouldn't it?
North and east.
Yeah, that'd be
Dollar General and residential.
Yeah, so that'd be north and east.
North and east, okay.
And you said it erosion study?
Yes.
Erosion study.
And this will be presented to the planning director? Or the planning
they would have to
department?
get these if this passes, then they would have to get these plans revised and done before they go to the board of aldermen.
But who would look at that? The planning director?
Yeah, the planning commission, they would.
Okay.
So we have any other discussion?
No.
Yes. This drainage problems, depending on the dirt moving you have, you can just put a berm on the low side to whatever elevation is proper.
Now, Jay, like I said, I haven't looked at the drainage.
Yeah.
Of course, just the first step is, have
That would
something
certainly
I
stop the
can
water
go with.
flowing. You make the water go where you want it to go at that point with a berm.
Yeah. So the engineer would have to, Vince would have to approve it, so.
Any other discussion? All right, we got a motion, we got a second, and we got a revision to that motion. Do we have roll call?
Yes, George Dixon,
No.
Angie Little,
Yes.
Linda McGann, yes. Joe Stapleton,
Yes.
Jimmy Stokes,
Yes.
Andrew Yeager,
Yes.
and Janice Vidal.
Yes.
Okay, we have 6 for, 1 against. It's approved to go to
Thank
the
you.
Board of Aldermen.
I'm just going to have Mr. Ben sit there at the podium while we go through this, because he's our next applicant also. So this is, we're moving to case number 2048 SP Site Plan and Design Review for Lot 13, the Center City Commercial Subdivision, Marco's Pizza, located close to Dunbarton and Goodman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So, same type of report as you just heard on the previous item. This has to do with Marco's Pizza. Of course, we're not really paying attention to the pizza part of it. We're paying attention to the building itself and the site, because it could be any number of things if Marco's Pizza ever left. But that's the intention now, is to construct a Marco's Pizza. It's an 1,800 square foot building. There's about an acre, I think there's about an acre lot. That may be an error. I'll ask Ben about that. We did not get a landscape plan on this, which we will have to have, and it'll have to be in compliance. The site is zone C4 and is adjacent to R8. The ordinance will say it requires a buffer yard type 30, but as I'll show you in a minute, that has not been observed anywhere down through there, and so I'm not sure that it's necessary to observe it here, and we would want to note the record as to why, if you do forgive that, as to why you are forgiving it. So as you scan down through the report, you'll see again we need a dumpster illustration. We need to understand the ground-mounted equipment, if there is ground-mounted equipment, or if it's on the roof. That's a design element. The rest of it pretty much complies. The red item on page 30 is in error. That should be green because it complies, not red. Primarily, we're looking at that buffer yard matter, and then the getting a landscape plan that meets the landscape standards. You will see the building itself on page 33. That's a masonry building, 360 degree. And you will see the kind of the design of it. It meets all the design requirements. Now, the last page was a little confusing as y'all were having conversation early on. So the upper image is, you'll see the vacant lot. That's Goodman Road to the south. That's Dunbarton to on the left-hand side or to the west. So what I did is I drew a little blue line to show you what a 30-foot buffer yard is. That's at the top purple image. And you will see the buildings on the right or the left, nobody down through there has a 30-foot buffer yard. And what they put on their plans is that they would match it's a masonry fence, and they would match the material that separates these businesses from the homes on the back side of their lot. The bottom of the page, that same page, that's just a blow-up of it so you could kind of see more clearly. I didn't do a very good job of it, but that's what that's intended to show. So, again, the building complies mostly with just a few details we need to make sure when they submit building plans. And we do need a landscape plan, which we do not have, that complies with the landscape standards. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions for the applicant?
Jimmy, this goes for what you said on the last meeting. You talking about pizza and pizza. We have Little Caesars and Marco's right next to each other with this one. I'm talking about point blank range.
Well,
If I could make a comment, if I could,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, on, about the landscape buffer at the rear. The subdivision plan itself was platted showing a 20-foot buffer, so it was approved years ago as a 20-foot buffer. It's on the recorded plat to be a 20-foot buffer. Bob is correct. There is no buffer to your left. That's not Dunbarton. That's I think that's a Telemobile.
That's the AT&T building. Yeah,
AT&T building, and there is no buffer whatsoever.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
To our right, there is approximately a 10-foot buffer at the back, but they have this masonry fence, which we included a picture of. It completely blocks the residential house on the rear from any activity that occurs at that pizza place. So we want to just tie onto that fence with the same material, 8-foot fence, and run it all the way across the rear of our property. And put a 5-foot landscape buffer in front of it. We think that will buffer those people. We'll do a good job, and like I say, it's an 8-foot masonry fence. It's a panel, yeah, it's masonry, but it is a panel, but it is masonry.
All right. Any questions from the commissioners to the applicant?
this case will be just like the last one, just subject to the site design requirements being met before the Board of Aldermen.
All right.
Well, we didn't know the landscape plan, we didn't know where you would approve the 5-foot with the 8-foot fence or not, so, we will supply
But
Bob.
you're gonna do the same thing that's already there, right, with the other businesses?
We'll do what's there, and it'll be more than, we'll match what's one side of us and be more than what's on the other side.
Right.
So do we have a motion?
Okay, I've got a quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
You have a main drive entrance from Goodman Road,
Correct?
and you're going to tie into the parking lot of AT&T and Little Caesars?
Little Caesars, it's already there. You can see the dashed lines, which represents the curb.
Okay.
The owner, one of them's here, the builder, owner. We're going to try to tie into the AT&T on the other side.
Right, I'm
So
sure.
we'll have cross connection between them.
Good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Little Caesar's not interested in sharing the
Well,
traffic.
it's already.
It is?
It's already there.
Oh,
on,
yeah.
on that side.
Competition's good, ain't it?
We actually had to call the franchisee on it, make sure that they would go right next door. And Marco's corporate office said, we don't care. And then we went to the planning girl over here to make sure there wasn't an ordinance for a Horn Lake. Because we have the ordinance, and Mayor Loudenwright asked him, and he said, it's capitalism. If they make it, they make it. And, but you'll have a brand new building there.
Maybe Little Caesar put some extra sausage in.
Yeah,
the competition, yeah, it increase the size of what you get on all the pieces toppings, yeah.
And that franchisee has got a long lease on it, so he's not going nowhere. We've already got our lease signed before we even started.
Oh, okay.
Will it have a,
Same Marco
drive-through?
up in South Haven?
I think it's the same franchisee.
Are they gonna
Get well.
He owns the one in Olive Branch, he owns the one in South Haven.
Oh, gotcha.
He wants this one here, and when we get done with this one, we're going to Hernando.
Okay, well, I'm ready to make a motion.
All right.
Because I'm hungry anyway, y'all talking about pizza.
And we keep talking about food, yes, I understand. All right, so do we have a motion?
Yes. I move to recommend to the mayor and board of aldermen the approval of the above site plan application subject to the staff recommendations and the following conditions. And the condition number 1, subject to site and design requirements being met before going to the board of aldermen.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Stokes and a second by Commissioner Dixon. Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Okay, Janice Vidal,
Yes.
Andrew Yeager,
I'll say yes if you think you can make it in business.
Jimmy Stokes,
Yes.
Jay Stapleton,
Yes.
Linda McGann, yes. Angie Little,
Yes.
and George Dixon. It passes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere else.
Thank you all. It's good to meet each one of y'all, and I hope I'll see you many more times.
All right, thank you, Ben. All right, well, that is all that we have as far as cases. Mr. Bob, do you have anything else for the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to suggest, perhaps if we can find a time, or maybe it's at the next Planning Commission meeting, for a little orientation for the new commissioners to the zoning code and the Horn Lake plan and all the various kinds of things that'll be coming before you. If the commission is interested, again, we'll have to find a time. Other than that, that's really all I had. I appreciate you in letting me do this via Zoom because of my travel schedule. I hope it was productive. It seemed to flow fairly well. So anyway, that's all I have.
Well, we thank you for your time. Yes, we would. I know that they're all shaking their head here, so we would love to have some training at your convenience. Just give us enough heads up so we can get everybody scheduled for that. Either we can do it after a planning commission meeting, or we can do it at a different time. Go ahead, Commissioner Stokes.
Mr. Bob.
Yes, sir.
Are the commissioner manuals that we received over the last?
Obsolete.
Are they still up to date?
Mr. Stokes, I need to check and see. I know there is a commissioner manual. I don't know that it's totally up to date, but even if it's not quite up to date, it's probably better than not having a manual. I will check on that next week and determine what it is, and hopefully we'll find an electronic copy of it and get that out to the commissioners.
Okay, and what I just found out that the new commissioners don't have the planning commissioner manuals also.
Yes, sir. That's a great point, and I will look into that.
They don't have the commissioner.
All right.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Vidal. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I am ready to
All right,
go.
we are adjourned.